Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Boy, there's a lot of news going on today, and we're going to get right on into it. All right, yeah, Superman is coming back to Vanderbilt, it looks like, and we've got Alabama begging for money. There's so much news going on right now, it's crazy. Transfer portal, we've got the NIL situation, Diego's coming back, and of course, my Vols, they're playing Ohio State Saturday night at 8 p.m., and there's so much going on with that. I've been covering it all week. And I'll probably do another show later today that'll cover a lot more stuff. It's nuts right now. And I'm so pumped about this game coming up this weekend. I know, God, I almost can't stand it. Anyway, we've got to talk about Diego Pavia. Superman's coming back, baby. Absolutely, and Vanderbilt is pumped. He sued the NCAA to try to get some more eligibility back because of JUCO, and he has been a news media darling. If there ever was one, I mean, the news loves this guy. He took Vanderbilt, who has been a doormat for years, and somehow he beat Alabama.
My Alabama Crimson Tide.
Auburn and Kentucky. He beat all three of them. He's literally the Alabama state champion. Now, if somebody would have told me that Vanderbilt was going to beat Auburn and Alabama in the same year, I don't know what I would have done.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
But he did. Absolutely. Crazy pills. He beat Auburn and Alabama in the same year at Vanderbilt. So let's get into this story real quick. It says Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia granted injunction allowing for added eligibility, and a federal judge granted the injunction Wednesday. He had sued the NCAA back in November, and he says because of the eligibility, it was a violation of antitrust laws that was unfairly limiting his ability to make money from his name, image, and likeness. And what the deal was, he had gone to a junior college in New Mexico, and because nobody wanted him, he was just a little one-star, two-star guy. And then he transferred from that JUCO school to New Mexico State, where he played great, and he beat the crap out of Hugh Freeze's teams the first time at Liberty. Then he beat him at Auburn not once but twice. And the second time, he said he did it because Hugh Freeze refused to look at him in the transfer portal. He had entered the portal from New Mexico State, and he was hoping an SEC team would take a look at him. And he had beaten Hugh Freeze twice, just whooped him. And Freeze didn't want him. He had Peyton Thorne.
Oh, who won that fight anyway?
Well, anyway, Vanderbilt took a chance on him, and I mean, it has been a big-time story all year long. Now, towards the end of the year, as you know, he got injured a lot. The last couple of games, he was about 60%. He had a bad leg, had a bad shoulder, because he's a running quarterback. And Vanderbilt's kind of running a triple option wing-back veer or whatever the crap you want to call it. Anyway, he's the straw that stirs the drink. And he's very difficult to deal with. I mean, I tell you, when he's 100%, he's a nightmare. He threw some passes against Alabama that I am convinced they were curveballs. They went around the cornerback and to his receiver. And he did it multiple times on third down. It was crazy. Well, anyway, it looks like he's going to get a year back at least. Now, this is an injunction. It will stay in place until they decide the case. Who knows how long that could take? That could be 6 months. It could be a year. He might get his whole season in before it even matters. So obviously Vanderbilt is beside themselves. They're so pumped.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
And I promise you, SEC Shorts is excited because they had a lot of fun with Diego, and so did this YouTuber. And I'm going to tell you something. Had he been 100%, he could have burned our playhouse down. The Vols, we played them the last game, and if we'd have lost that game, we would not be in this playoff right now. And they were up 14-0 on us in the first 5 minutes. They had a kickoff return, and then we immediately fumbled. They scored, and we were down 14. And then, thank goodness, Tennessee got their wheels back on, and we scored like 33 of the next 36 points and just whooped up on them. But you could tell Diego wasn't the same quarterback. He was kind of halfway limping and he didn't have the zip on his arm. He needs some time off and to get back 100%. But when he does, Vanderbilt will be a darn good team again. They're going to a bowl game. I mean, he has really been great for the city of Nashville and for the Commodores. And I'm so glad they didn't burn our playhouse down. So glad. Let me tell you something. This Michigan loss that Ohio State's dealing with, that has depressed their fan base. it would have been very similar for us. If we'd have lost to Vanderbilt, somehow they'd have fluked up and beat us, I couldn't have taken it.
And then depression set in.
I know the city of Knoxville, you would have just felt the depression all over the state and heavy in K-Town. But that, thank goodness, didn't happen. And look, their victory over Bama kept them out. Bama would have been in the playoff. And speaking of Bama, their athletic director is begging for money. He needs money, and Bama needs money because they're losing their 5 stars left and right. And here he talks about it on the next round.
When they see a statement like this, you're asking the average fan to pay full freight when it comes to NIL. Can you clear some of this up?
Yeah, I'm not sure what full freight is necessarily. We are encouraging people to be involved at whatever level they can. And obviously some folks can't. We understand that. And, there's people that have different feelings on it. Some are all in saying, hey, it's reality. It's where we are right now. Let's go to support it. There's others that say, I'm never going to do this and for different reasons. Listen, it's reality. We have to deal with reality. The late, great Cecil Hurt told me many times, he said, Greg, people are always really good at spending other people's money. I've said that before probably on your show. And I think there's an assumption that, hey, we're Alabama, we've got more money than the Vatican, and that's not accurate. We have a budget, we have to adhere to that budget. And I know some folks have said, well, just, use your money from a ticket revenue standpoint, different buckets that we're fortunate to have. Those obviously go to support our 21 teams, our 650 young men and young women in our program. And to be able to compete at the levels that we expect and desire, it takes a lot of resources to do that. We have the House settlement, which if I would encourage the listeners to go read about that. Ross Dillinger from Yahoo Sports has written a lot about it. I'm not saying all of it's 100% the lens I look at it, but at the same time too, he's been very in depth on it. We have about a $25 million line item coming at us from a rev share standpoint. But we have economic realities that we face, and you have to ask, you have to be direct. And we tried to send it as a very strong message purposely, not kind of beat around the bush, but just be direct about what we're facing. And so I haven't gotten any of the numbers since yesterday, but I think it'll make an impact on people being involved. And it starts it's $18 a month, which, we'll sign all 3 of you up so you can support Yay Alabama. We'll be happy to do that.
Okay, yeah, this has a lot to do with revenue sharing, and I've been telling you folks about that. And that's the settlement breakdown, and it's 17 to 22 million in revenue sharing, probably closer to the 22, and then the additional scholarships. So when he says 25 million, it's probably going to cost more than that, honestly. So they're needing to do a couple things. Alabama's probably got about a $225 million budget, so it's about 10%. Well, as you know, look, this is a state school. They're going to spend every dime of that every year. There's never any extra profit or whatever put away for a rainy day or anything like that too much. So they've become masters of spending every dime. It's not impossible for them to cut 10% of their budget. That's not impossible, and then to share it with the players, because there's plenty of waste in there. But that's not fun. That is not fun. That means not giving huge increases, not paying a ton for an assistant, not paying a ton for an assistant athletic director or whatever. Some people have to be let go. That'll be the crappy part. And then the other way to do it is they got to raise money. That's not fun either. He's going to have to beg for money. He's going to have to go to the donors.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And then you've got the NIL on top of this. That's probably not going to be included in this revenue share. I highly doubt that it will, because again, that's going to run up into the Sherman Act and the antitrust laws that have already been settled pretty much by the Supreme Court. They're up against it a little bit. Not too bad. It's almost like they got rich people problems. Okay, that's what it boils down to. They can cut 5% out of the budget and raise the other 5%. Now, what Tennessee has done, we've actually put a tax on our tickets. Now, it's only going to cover $2 or $3 million of the 20 that we need. But it's, the athletic director said, hey, I'm just going to tell the truth. We're putting a tax on here. It's going to the players. That way, I'm not sitting here just going, hey, gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm just putting it on the ticket. So either way, but they're needing money. And the reason being is because they're getting raided by schools that have more money, that have more NIL, and they're going after their 5 stars because It's like when people rob a bank. Why do you rob a bank? That's where the money is. Well, you know where the 5 stars are? They're at Alabama. And that's because Nick Saban, he was a great recruiter, the best. And he loaded up with 4 and 5 stars. He wouldn't even hardly look at a 3-star. As a matter of fact, when he first came to Alabama, they weren't worth a crap. His first year, they went 6-6, and he had a bunch of 3 stars. Actually, I think this was his first practice.
You're all worthless and weak. Drop and give me 20.
Yeah, he didn't think much of them. And then after that, he hardly ever recruited a 3-star. So now they're trying to defend and hold on to what they got. And they went 9-3 this year. DeBoer, he might be a really good hire. He might not. You just never know. You're following up the GOAT, which is always difficult. And especially with these circumstances where NIL and portal, and it's very tricky. And Auburn fans are having a big time with this, as you can imagine. Yeah, here's Auburn memes. This is all over X. People are having a lot of fun on the begging. So there's Greg Byrne. Here's one where they put the face on him. Here's another one. So like I said, Auburn's never going to miss a chance to make fun of Alabama. So anyway, I did want to cover those 2 stories today. And again, I'll have another video out later today. Probably going to talk about, I want to talk about Nico a little bit. In the NCAA, there was a story that came out that was very interesting about that and how they tried to attack him and try to go at him to get to Tennessee. And also want to talk a little bit about Ohio State. And like I said, probably later today. I got a lot of stories I want to talk about. There's just too much coming at me. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 right there, hit that little button. Won't cost you a dime. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. The algorithm, it knows all. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.